Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the KIIS Student Orientation for Summer 2025. This is a very special year for KIIS, as many of you probably already know based at least on your t-shirts, but I imagine the website and so on. It is KIIS's 50th anniversary. So what started as a small faculty-led study abroad organization back in 1975, loosely formed back then, is still today faculty-led study abroad with our wonderful faculty over here. A huge round of applause for them. It's tough for us to keep track of exactly how many students, but well over 15,000 students over these years have studied abroad with KIIS. And we're thrilled to have you all here with your friends, family, who may be joining you. My name is Dr. John Disgan. I'm the Executive Director of KIIS. I apologize for the feedback. I can hear it myself, so we'll just make do. And to give you a sense of how today will work, I will speak to you for approximately 25 minutes. Then we will take a brief 5-10 minutes interlude to complete one task here together, and then I will call the program directors and faculty by program, and when you hear your program called at that point, you will descend down to the basketball court and you will go out with your particular KIIS study abroad program to an individual classroom where you'll have the nuts and bolts student orientation for your specific program, and that will last probably around 2.5 to 3 hours. I just want to take a moment to thank also all of your respective institutions. There are 27, actually now 28 schools that are part of the KIIS Consortium, and your universities, colleges provide you a tremendous amount of support. And so a big thank you to all your schools, and then a special thank you as well to Western Kentucky University that serves as KIIS's sponsoring host institution and allows for wonderful days like this in this auditorium. So just a big thank you to all your schools and WKU as well. I also want to take a moment to congratulate all of you on making the decision to study abroad. It's something I'm sure some of you are sitting here today with some butterflies, excitement, combinations of the above, and I think that's great and that's normal, and that's partly why we have the orientation. And so just for you taking both the academic and professional leap to study abroad, while I cannot guarantee you it will be the case, for many students it turns out to be one of the best decisions they make during their period in college or university, and I certainly hope that is the case for you this summer. So big thank you to all of the students. And we know that none of this happens without the support of your families, your friends, your legal guardians. So a huge thank you to the parents, grandparents, legal guardians, and others who have supported you on your journey to here and to allow you to be able to participate this summer on the study abroad. I'd like to talk to you today about 4 things. 1, a little bit on flights, the air travel. 2, behavior. 3, health and safety. And 4, academics. So just with regard to the flights, we recognize that for many of you, this is the first time you may be getting on an airplane, a completely normal KIIS occurrence. We also recognize for some of you, you've traveled more than once or extensively. And so if you are flying with the group flight, your program directors today will go over where do you meet for your group flight, at what time do you meet, so all of that will get addressed. Please, if there's one thing I can impart to you regarding your flight, is do not forget your passport. And keep that passport. That is like, carrying $1,000 of cash in your wallet. So just keep that secure at all times. Don't stuff it into the seat back behind, and then that you're sitting in the seat back in front of you. And please safeguard that. If you have any prescription medication, please make sure to take that in your carry-on luggage, not your checked luggage, in the event your bag, which we hope doesn't happen to anyone, is delayed and you need your medication, you don't want to be without that. Make sure that you have enough prescription medication for the entire duration of your program and maybe another week just in case you end up needing it. And so with your insurance, you may have to request that ahead of time, that they provide you a whole month's supply if you typically only get a week or two at a time. I also encourage you to maybe put an AirTag, an Apple AirTag or the equivalent in your checked luggage, maybe your carry-on luggage, in the event that it is temporarily misplaced by the airline. It will help in that process of locating it. I'm going to provide you with my phone number now, and I do this in the event of an emergency that you need to reach me, and I'm going to give you also KIIS Assistant Director Maria Canning's phone number. Parents, please do not text or call me with an individual question on this during the program, because when I get a message, I presume that there's some emergency situation. For that, you can always email, and I'll get back to you. My cell phone number, and again, my name is John. Last name is a little unusual, Dizgun, D-I-Z-G-U-N, like Dizgun. 270-227-2288, 270-227-2288. You don't have to do it right now, but I recommend you maybe put a plus sign and the number 1 before that in your phone. That way, regardless of where you are, it'll automatically know how to call with the country code. In the case of Maria Canning, spelled C-A-N-N-I-N-G, Maria Canning, she has the best cell phone number in the world, 859-200-1000. 859-200-1000, Maria Canning, KIIS Assistant Director. Again, these are to be used in the event of not to text me tomorrow to ask me a question about something on the orientation. But I am available 24/7 if the need arises. If you are flying not on the group, then please make sure to upload your individual flight itinerary to your KIIS portal, to your KIIS account, and to know what you are going to do when you arrive on site in the host country. So are you meeting up with the group transportation but flying independently? Are you making your own way to the accommodation site? So please, that'll be something to talk today with your program directors. When you step off the plane in Dar es Salaam or Tokyo or Athens or Buenos Aires or wherever you might be going with KIIS this summer, you may have, as I mentioned before, some butterflies. You probably will have a measure of excitement. You might have a feeling of bewilderment. You might even have a little bit of an upset feeling initially of just the cultural difference that you're experiencing. And you are encountering people that you haven't necessarily encountered before, and they are also encountering you for the first time. And so as you are kind of sizing them up in your first impressions, they are doing the same thing of you. And so it's really important to kind of think through how you want to be perceived in those initial impressions, and to avoid, Americans are really kind, generous people. Sometimes we have a reputation abroad in other countries of being loud or confrontational, sometimes rude. And I would just encourage you to really not live up to those standards, but establish the standards that you want to have people think of Americans, and to think of you, and to think of Kentucky or West Virginia or Ohio or Tennessee or Indiana or wherever you may be from beyond. You're representing your university, you're representing KIIS, and you're representing the United States of America. And I believe profoundly that you, as students who are studying abroad, are cultural ambassadors of this country. And in the context of the current climate, perhaps there is even more of a need to have a sense of awareness, courtesy, and respect towards the people you are encountering. So I would just really encourage you to always be mindful of where you're coming from and who you're representing. And just by being a foreigner does not excuse you from foreign laws in the country you're going to. You must respect those laws, the customs, the culture of the places you're going to. KIIS tries to promote a respectful learning environment so that all students and all faculty feel comfortable studying abroad with KIIS, and to that end, any form of sexual harassment, bigotry, racism are things that KIIS does not tolerate and may lead to somebody being sent home, which of course we don't ever want to do. If you behave inappropriately, if you put yourself in danger, you put other people in danger, that would be grounds for potential dismissal. On your programs, you are going to do a lot of walking. And some of us walk every day a lot, some of us don't. And so what I would just encourage you over the next 4, 6, 8 weeks is just to kind of up your walking a little bit. Just, if you have a dog, take your dog for a walk. If you are on campus, just walk around campus. Whatever, go to the gym if you want to. It doesn't have to be anything strenuous. We might walk in a given day 5 to 10 miles on a KIIS program, but that doesn't mean it's 5 to 10 miles in one fell swoop. There's going to be lots of stopping, learning along the way. But it's important for you to feel that you are in good walking shape. I'm not talking Arnold Schwarzenegger here. And for you, while you're abroad, to really focus on 3 important things: eating well, hydrating yourself, and sleeping well. Those go a really long way to keeping yourself healthy. If you choose on a KIIS program to drink alcohol, it is imperative that you do so with moderation. If anybody abuses alcohol or drugs, that is grounds for dismissal by putting yourself and other people on the program or other people in the host countries in danger, and KIIS would not hesitate to send somebody home for abuse of alcohol or use of drugs. If you are arrested for drugs, there's really nothing that KIIS can do for you other than provide legal counsel and inform the U.S. Embassy. So please, if that's something that you do at home, do not do it while you are abroad. KIIS has really good medical insurance for you on your study abroad programs. You all probably have already gotten a KIIS email from an email called culturalinsurance.com, and that is your medical insurance card while on the KIIS program. It has a $250,000 max, a very robust max, and one of the things we love about it is a zero deductible policy. Your program directors will go over that policy with you. It's on the KIIS website, but when I say they'll go over the policy, kind of briefly, I'll just mention this. If it's something small, on site you have an upset stomach, perhaps you have a fever, you might need an antibiotic, your program director will take you to a doctor, and you, for that visit, let's say it's relatively minor, under $200-ish, you would pay out of pocket. You will keep the receipts, the physician diagnosis, and then either while you're on the program or when you get back, you have 12 months to do so. You will email that to the insurance and you'll get a reimbursement check for the whole amount, including any prescriptions the physician prescribes. If it's something more serious, somebody perhaps breaks an arm, hopefully not, our program directors will also get you to a hospital, or they will speak to you if there's a need for you to get yourself directly to the hospital, say you were off in a group with other students at the time. And in that case, KIIS, through the insurance, will set up direct billing with the hospital. So just to give you a sense of how the medical insurance works, and all that information is on our website. In the event of a natural disaster, a terrorist attack, or some other major event that could happen abroad, hopefully not, but it can, it's very important that you proactively and immediately communicate with your program director through a WhatsApp group that they'll set up through a program or some equivalent, it could be a group me or what have you, to let them know that you are safe and accounted for and where you are, and your program directors will let you know where the emergency meeting place for the group is in the events that communication, for instance, is cut off. And so that'll be something they'll talk to you about today, but it's very important for us that if something happens, we want to immediately notify your campuses that you're okay, and of course you should also notify your parents or your family that you're okay. And so you proactively communicating with us really saves a lot of time in that process. I would say there's nothing more important in terms of health and safety on KIIS programs than you being together in groups. So we don't want you wandering off by yourself to, go meet some local without others being with you. And there's probably nothing comparably more important than you looking after one another. Your faculty and program directors are not going to be with you 24/7, just like as parents, you can't keep track of your kids 24/7. And there's nothing that is more successful abroad than if you look after one another. And you will get a lot more detail during your program sessions, but please, if somebody's down, if somebody needs to go back to the hotel while you're out, don't leave them. Take them in as your brother, your sister, and get them back to where they need. Look after them, make sure they're safe and healthy. So I've spoken about alcohol and drugs. Does anybody here know what the second most common source of accidents for American college students abroad is? Alcohol is number one. So she's absolutely right. She said jaywalking, so I'll just put it into a broader category of traffic accidents. And here, the norms of driving, even if you compare Kentucky to New York City, it's very different. And when you compare Kentucky or surrounding states to many of the places you're going, the norms of driving are often different. In many places, you might come to a four-way intersection and there's no stop sign or traffic light in any direction. And so what I would just really encourage you is while you're on these programs, even if it's a one-way street, look both ways. Don't play chicken with anyone. And I'm going to tell you from first-hand experience, I almost died in Bogota, Colombia due to a traffic accident. So I say this from the heart. I was walking, trying to cross 3 lanes of traffic to get to a grassy median. There were 3 lanes going the opposite direction, which is I needed to cross all 6 to take the bus in the direction going that way. I looked to my left across the first 3 lanes of traffic, nothing coming, jogged to the median. Well, I forgot that during rush hour, the 3rd lane of the ones going this way also goes uptown. So it's 2 going down, 1 uptown, grassy median, and another 3 going uptown. And I got hit by a minivan, the side mirror of the minivan. I'd say 1 more step, I would have been done. And I did hurt my shoulder at the time. So I say this from experience as well. Please pay very close attention to traffic. If there's a place that looks like it's an insane intersection to cross, chances are there might be an underground pedestrian walkway or an overground pedestrian walkway that you're supposed to cross. Be very mindful of bicycles, be very mindful of motorcycles. Those things can be sometimes more dangerous than cars in terms of how traffic patterns are, particularly in places like Europe. The study abroad programs that you're about to go on will be different than what you're used to on your home campus. Some of the differences are really obvious. You're going for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks rather than 15 weeks on campus. On campus, you go to class, you're with the professors and the students for 3 hours each week, perhaps in 2 or 3 different intervals of 55 minutes or an hour and 25. And then you might not see those students until you go back to class, or you might not see the professors until you go back to class. On study abroad, you're with the group all the time. Of course, you'll have time away from the classroom and excursions, but the learning is set up to be centered around direct experience, active student learning. And much of the learning will happen outside of the conventional classroom. There certainly will be conventional style classrooms, even if when I say conventional, it might be in the breakfast room after breakfast is done where class is held. It might be in a traditional classroom like you're used to. But a lot of the learning will happen on excursions, on field trips, on dedicated, student-led assignment activities that the professors have provided you, where you might go off with 3-4 students for 4 hours to do an academic assignment. And one of the things that's also different is it's really a 24/7 experience. And by that I don't mean you're going to be in class or excursions for 24 hours a day, but the absorption, the acculturation, the immersion that happens, many of your most significant intercultural moments while you're studying with KIIS this summer very well could happen when you're not in the classroom and when you're not on an excursion. And we hope that the foundation that we provide you during those classes and excursions allows you to have a level of intercultural understanding and depth and exchange with locals that if you were just traveling on your own, going through Latin America, you might not have, because you don't have that educational foundation and context. And our goal fundamentally, academically, is to make you as culturally uncomfortable as possible while keeping you safe. So we're going to push your boundaries. We're going to put you in situations where sometimes you would not think that you can handle that situation. You might have to figure out public transportation all on your own for an excursion. Your professors are obviously always resources for you, but we're going to push you outside your comfort zone, and I would feel that if we did not do that, then it wasn't a success. There's also a really strong correlation, not surprisingly, between the degree to which you prepare for your study abroad program before you depart, that is in these coming weeks, and how much you will absorb and learn while you are abroad. So if you just showed up and didn't know what the major rivers were in the country or continent where you were, or didn't have a sense of the geography within your country or the surrounding countries, or you had no idea about the political system or the economic system in that country or some of the history in that country, it would be, you'll be kind of starting behind the 8 ball a little bit. There are a couple of really great resources you can check out. One, for each country, there's a CIA fact book for that country online, a very easy resource to check out. There's also a really great series of country reports on a website, freedomhouse.org. It's a really great site to go to. So CIA fact books, freedomhouse.org, those are 2 wonderful starting places. Maps, newspapers, books, fiction. Fiction is a great way to get yourself involved. And I'd like to kind of just challenge each one of you, almost require each one of you to learn 5 words in the local language of the place you're going to. So you say 5 words. What's 5 words? Well, I'll tell you what 5 words does. 5 words when you arrive into a bakery and you say bonjour as opposed to hey, immediately there's a cultural connection there. The fact that you're trying ingratiates you to the locals. They know that you don't speak fluently. They know you might only speak 5-10 words, but it will begin to clue you in culturally to the context you're going to, and it'll make your interpersonal relationships with the locals better. So everybody go find whatever 5 words you want to figure out. But go learn 5 words of the local language. If you're in Tanzania and you say asante sana, thank you very much to someone, versus saying thank you very much, it's a huge difference. They really, really appreciate it. As one example, every country does. I was recently at the Van Gogh Museum. I had the opportunity to go to the Van Gogh Museum in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. And there was a visiting artist, famous artist, Anselm Kiefer, his exhibit was happening in the Van Gogh Museum. And there was one quote that really caught my eye that I just want to leave you with. It said, art isn't just about beauty. It must confront us with who we are and what we think we know. And so when I saw that, I said, I'm going to take out the word art and put in study abroad. and I'm going to take out the word beauty, and I'm going to put in travel. So I'll read it to you this way. Study abroad isn't just about travel. It must confront us with who we are and what we think we know.